Boys, new DNA. Welcome to Destined for Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Devin Woods.
Me it was possible to get good from bad. Yeah. And you told me if I made one step, you would be glad to make
Let's go, y'all.
It seemed like I was slipping away. I was trying to do things my way. But it was like one day you tapped me on my shoulder. And this is what you said to me.
Welcome to Destined for Greatness podcast. We got another special one today.
And when I said yes, it's natural, and you put your super on it. Not incredible, well it's incredible.
Shout out Chip Dick, my brother, man, I see you.
My natural, and you put your super on it. You went beyond, showed me a better way. You gave me a new,
Alright, let me talk to him.
I ain't been bitten by no spider. I feel like I've been hit by a meteor. All I can really say is I feel better than I did.
Give time for y'all to come up in here. Come jam with me.
A little bit smarter, seeing things I couldn't see before. I can speak things into existence. My brother or sister, let me say, look no further, please don't delay. If you compliment, I can show you a better way. 'Cause if you say yes.
Welcome to Destined for Greatness podcast. I am your host, Mr. Woods, and today I got another special guest. Today I got Mr. Tyrell Reed. Over the last 20 years, Mr. Reed has seen his career blossom from being a dishwasher to being a multi-unit franchise owner, gathering wealth and experience in every position along the way. Tyrell has served as senior leadership roles with multiple brands, including Westshore Pizza, Fuzzy's Taco Shop, Checkers and Rallies, Moe's, Southwestern Girl, and many more. This guy right here has been holding it down for years. So without any further ado, let me introduce my brother, Mr. Tyrell Reed. Let me bring it.
What's happening?
How's going on, man? Good to see you, champ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going well. Blessed. Can't complain.
Can't complain here either, man. Like I tell everybody, man, nobody can introduce themselves better than themselves. So for those that do not know you, sir, please introduce yourself.
Man, I'm Tyrell Reed, Lansing, Michigan, coming to you from Tampa. Really not Tampa, I'm a little outside of Tampa. But I'm from Lansing, East Sider, went to Everett High, been in Florida here for about 18, 19 years now. Family man, business owner, region coach for a couple of brands. Just kind of living my life, doing my thing as a dad and a husband.
Hey, man, that's exactly what you're doing, man. And what you do is show a lot of love and support. I must say right here, y'all, to me, other than my wife, this is my number one fan right here. I'm going to say he's Destined for Greatness number one fan. You've been here since day one, my G. You've been watching this show. You've been sharing it. You've been telling people to come on, hitting me up, telling people to get on. I salute you for holding the show down, man, and showing love to Destined for Greatness, my man.
Man, I salute you, bro. You've been shining a lot of light on the city, and even though I'm here in Florida, I love Lansing. That's my hometown, all my folks, and I just love seeing, all the greatness that you've been putting on stage for us all to see. It's been good, so I'm happy to support.
Man, we have a lot of talent coming out of Lansing, Michigan, and it's time for us to stand up, man. Time for us to stand up. But I have a problem right now, and I already see one right there. So let me get it going. Let me start it right now. I see the hoodie that you got on. So now y'all 2 for 2 right now, right? Because I see the hoodie. Go ahead.
We infinite, baby.
Go ahead.
Hey, Central in the building.
Okay. Central in the building, man. Shout out to Central, man. All y'all dudes, man, is killing the game right now. And I actually got an idea I want to run by you real quick before we get the show started. Central, since all y'all hearing me, because I know y'all on here, because all of y'all watch and support each other. Y'all need to come together for EV, man. Y'all might need to put a program together or something, a development program or something. All y'all come together called Central. Central should never die, man. Y'all should go ahead and put that thing back in Lansing. And it should be something that just up and coming. These kids are trying to join like a fraternity, man.
Man, it would be beautiful, man. And you're right, it ain't gonna die. We still close, we still chatting, talking to my brothers on a daily basis. A lot of the motivation comes right from them cats, man, to be honest.
Man, I
I'm
love it.
blessed to have them dudes in my life for so long. You know,
Hey,
we've
man,
been
shout out,
rocking
man. Shout out some of your
20,
brothers,
30
man.
years.
What's their names, man? Shout out some of the brothers.
Oh man, I mean, you just think about the crew. We got, you know, me, you got D Dunk, you got Corey, you got Bruce, you got Rashawn Mays, you got, you know, Rashid and Rashad, the twins, you got Haji, you know, you got Bino out there. There go my brother Jermaine right there. I mean, the whole crew is just some solid cats, man. Solid cats.
Definitely, man. Hey, and all of y'all got dealt with by Deuce,
Jamari,
though,
you already had
you hear
Jay
me?
on here.
And all y'all got dealt with by Deuce, though.
Because y'all was kind of trying to big bro us, but you know, once y'all got up out of there, we was able to get our shine.
Oh yeah, man, y'all was shining in, man. But shout out to the whole crew, man. But let's get this thing started, man. Like you said, you from Lansing, Michigan. Man, let's talk about some humble beginnings, man. Like I talked about in your bio, man. Let's talk about a little bit about your come on, man. Your parents, man. Everything. Let's know a little bit about you, man. Let's about how you began, who you are right now.
Yeah, man. Like I said, kid from Lansing, East Sider, grew up on Baker Street, right there in the hood, man. And
Yeah.
it never felt like that, right? It was just so dope growing up right there. All my friends, you know, Ian, Daniel, Justin, all these cats, but it was good. I grew up with my grandparents, so you know, very you know, structured house. My grandma never played about them grades, going to church every Sunday, never missing Sunday school, but really enjoyed my childhood. Growing up over there, and look, Rashawn, he grew up right around the corner from me. So, yeah, I love growing up in Lansing. Even though I'm from the East, I always knew I was going to EV. So it was kind of like a family thing. It was in me from way in the beginning. We always knew we was going to Everett. So love being an East Sider, love all my folks on the East, and then had a little bit of touch of that South Side once I got over to Everett.
Yeah, man. Because if you was off of Baker, man, that's one of the harder Lansings right there. So
Yeah.
Anybody that's familiar with Baker Street knows the struggles that it takes for this young man to get to where he's at right now off of Baker, bro.
We used to say we from Baker Street, Michigan. It was like different than Lansing. It wasn't even part of Lansing. Baker Street.
It felt like it. It felt
Baker
like
Street,
it, man.
Michigan. So yeah, I went to
Shout out
Patton
to my city too, man.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Eastern. I went to Patton, loved it.
What middle school you go to?
Patton. The old Patton though. The one that ain't even there no more. So you know, just loved it, man. I had some just awesome experiences growing up, things that you can appreciate as an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way that we got to live, the freedom that we had. Even though I was there, we were riding our bikes all over Lansing. We was all over.
Hold on, man. Kids don't know nothing about that, man. Your bike was your means of transportation. I tried to buy my kids some bikes. They looked at me like, "What is that?"
Yeah, that ain't no hoverboard.
I'm like, what? You got me a bike, man. I'm on the other side of town today.
Man, it wasn't even like a fresh new bike. I was 7 or 8 years old with a grown man bike, barely fit. But I loved it though. We was all over town, and it was love, man. It was love. I love Lansing, and Lansing was cool because it was small enough that you could do that, but still big enough that you could really see some good stuff around there and meet some great people.
What it was is a lot of competition, a lot of talent, a lot of people good. So, if you wanted to do something, you had to strive to be the best. And that's a lot of the times why when we go other places, we flourish.
Mm-hmm. Man, so, and it's on display now. Look how many folks from Lansing just killing it.
Killing it, man. We on time with it right now, man. That's why I had it displayed. We are destined for greatness, man. And especially you, man. So let's talk about your grandparents a little bit, man, before we get too deep into it. Let's just talk about the support that they have for you through everything.
Yeah, man, I was so lucky to spend time in, shout out to my mom and my brothers and sisters. They were living in Tennessee at the time. Mm-hmm. I ended up back in Michigan, living with my grandma and my granddad. My grandma worked at the plant, 30 plus years. She was, she put in that work. My grandfather was a truck driver. Just fantastic experience and exposure just from living that life where, you got to see the road, you got to, explore and go places. Me and my cousins hopping in the semi truck, seeing the country, which was fantastic. And then my grandparents on the other side lived just a couple blocks down the street. So, I was covered. I was completely supported.
All right, man. So let's talk. Now you in school, man. Did you play any sports or anything? What was your activities while you were in school, bro?
Man, I was a clown, to be honest. I love sports, right? but I was never really that good. So, I tried to, get out there a little bit and couldn't keep my head together. Couldn't get eligible. I think I tried out for the hoop team my freshman year. Couldn't make the squad, and I knew Coach Jones. I grew up, I come from a hoop family, so my big cuz played hoop. I was at all the games. I was decent, but no, I couldn't get my life together enough to actually play competitively. But I always love. I mean, I spent a lot of time at the parks playing with the boys, with the friends. But yeah, not a true athlete, I guess you would say. I was more
Did
on
you
the
stay
on
out
the
the
clown
way
side.
though? Did you stay out the way? I mean, you wasn't getting in no trouble or nothing like that.
No, never got in no trouble. I was
Okay.
always a good kid. I love, I was always a smart kid. Always, I grew up loving my typewriter and my Legos and my and my Legos and my, my erector sets and all that stuff. So being creative, I was always into art, writing stories, drawing pictures, being creative in that way. That was really more my thing.
That's what's up. Hey, man, K. Lee got a question for you, man. He wants to know what made you go over to Everett over Eastern when you was on the east side, man.
E.T., my big cuz.
Okay. Eric Thomas.
I follow my cuz Eric Thompson, man. He was like my big brother, right? I was on his coattail when I was in elementary school, middle school. He played ball at Everett. I went to every single game. Tell Kaylee, I remember him hitting that shot in Battle Creek. His freshman year would put him on the map. I was there, but I was probably 10, 11 years old or something like that. But, seeing my big cuz, and then my other cousins, Jeff, Toya, they were already on the South, went to Everett.
Shout out Jeff Allen, my brother.
That's my brother right there.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Even though I grew up on the east side, I spent every single weekend on the South. I was in Beachfield. I was, my aunt lived over on Balmoral, Glen Burn. I was on the South every weekend.
Oh man, you're naming off all the historical landmarks at the crib, man.
That's where I was at.
That's where I was at. Beachfield over there with my cousin Omar, and you know what I'm saying? He's over there running around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So you was at EV. So what were you doing at EV, man? What was your extracurricular activities if you wasn't playing no sports? What was you doing?
Man, we was heavily involved in, Brotherhood Network. The Brothers Incorporated. Miss Marcellus really put us on. Really gave us, when you talk about exposure, Marcellus really, she opened us up to a whole different world. So spending a lot of time doing things like that, we were doing things in the community. She had us doing coat drives, and we were doing plays and Black History programs, and whatever it was to try to help us, just expand ourselves culturally. And I really appreciate her for that.
Yeah, man, because that right there needs to be implemented back in schools. Because right now, did that play a role in your life? Do you think that helped you or had any type of structure in who you are today?
Oh, no question. She, her and the folks that she was able to just get us connected with, in Lansing was, it was big. It was a big deal. She put up her own money and invested her own time in making sure that we understood what our options were in life. She pushed us to try to get into college and do that. She drove, cats all the way down to Mississippi to visit school. She was big. Marcellus definitely helped us to understand what the world had to offer.
Dope. Did you ever get a chance to be a part of the Black College Tour?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went on a tour. We went, down to J State. We went to Alcorn State, Southern, Grambling. Kind of did all that. Black College Tour was love. Mr. Island really he put us on with that too. I love Mr. Island. I love Miss Island. I spent a lot of time. I was in the Upper Bound program, so I got to know Mrs. Island, and programs like that really just they showed us what was out there. So no, Black College Tour was lovely. I tried to go to school so many times. So I went to Jackson State for a couple of days, the LCC, Davenport, all the name them. Tried that, didn't really work out for me, but it definitely had an impact on me for sure, because it helped me understand I need to try and improve. And those last 2 years of high school, after just being a clown for those first couple of years, incompletes and E's and D's and all that, we really turned it around and tried to get that grade point average right, so that we could try to go to school, and we was all on that.
Yeah, man. So how did you guys formulate your team and your? Because you guys seem like you guys got really serious. So what made you? Was it just? It was a crew of friends, but what made you guys be like, you know what? We're gonna stick together to this day. You guys still wearing hoodies, man. Did that make an impact in your life, man? You having a crew of friends that were all self-driven like that and motivated?
Yeah, and it happened naturally. I knew Bruce first, Bruce and Preston, because we went to middle school together, and
Shout out Bruce Hicks.
even back then, we all ended up going to Everett. So we knew we was going to EV. We did school of choice. Bruce knew Corey and Dennis or Corey and Rashawn. I knew Rashawn because he lived in my neighborhood, but he went to school with the other cast. So Rashawn knew Corey and Dennis and all them. And we just kind of meshed. By the time we got to our freshman year, we were all, Everett had teams. So we had a lot of classes together. We spent a lot of time together, a lot of same interests. These dudes is funny and creative. We just meshed, man. It was beautiful. We talk about it all the time. Central formed in the basement at Everett in Miss McQueen's class, right in the back, not doing no work, but we were bonded.
That's what's up, man.
Beautiful crew. I love these dudes.
Yeah, man. So tell us a lot about life after high school, man. So what was the next step in your life when you graduated EV? What was your next step?
I tried to go to school, even through high school, I always worked.
Okay.
I worked at the shop.
Let's talk about that.
I was so lucky and fortunate to have, Pike and Corey and Diesel and Flawless, because they gave me, the chance to sweep hair and answer phones for 6-7 years of my life. So I spent every single day, pretty much every day throughout high school, after school in the shop, meeting people, talking to folks. They let me sell candy in there. They let me, do whatever, whatever I wanted to do in there. But they always push, getting my grades, doing all that, making sure that we were good kids. So after high school, I tried to go to school. I think the first thing I tried to do was go to Davenport. Tried that for a little while, and I couldn't focus, man. That was always my problem, was not getting focused, not taking it seriously. Went probably for a semester, and then it was back to, I'm gonna just try to get a job or something. A couple of odd jobs, and then it was try to go to school again. I bounced around for a few years after high school. I was hopping couches, trying to figure out what I was gonna do.
Wow, hopping couches. I would have never guessed, man. See, that's what I'm saying. You never know people's humble beginnings. Yeah,
hopping couches. Shout out to my boy Bino. He let me stay there for a while after he got back from basic training. He was the first one to really get a crib. Bruce and Bino, they had cribs. I was able to sleep on couches. I was able to bounce around. Dennis, he moved to Oklahoma. His mom let me come stay with them for a while.
Wow.
Pike took me in, let me roll in the crib. That was me thinking that I was trying to be an adult. I thought that made me grown because I wasn't in my grandma's house, but really, I wasn't doing anything.
All right, man. So you said you continuously worked, man. So tell us about some of the careers or professions that you had that created who you are today. Some of the things that you were doing for work that helped, because you said that you started off as a dishwasher. Where were you at in life where you were being a dishwasher?
I started washing dishes and doing prep over at Little Caesars over there it was over in Waverly. I think the street is Elmwood or something like that. I don't even think it's a Little Caesars over there anymore, but that was my first real job in a restaurant, working at Little Caesars, slinging pizzas, doing prep, washing dishes.
All right, man. My brother Lee got another question. He said, did you feel like leaving Lansing was a part of your success?
For sure. As much as I love Lansing, sometimes you got to see it for what it is and understand that, I wasn't getting much done there. And not so much leaving Lansing, but coming back to Lansing after I had already left Lansing.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
That changed something.
So you actually left Lansing. For how long did you leave before you came back?
I was gone for a couple years, probably 2 years.
And where did you go?
I went to Oklahoma, to Bartlesville with Dennis. Then I came back to Lansing for a few months, and then I had a chance to move moved down to Florida with Pike and his family, and just found my way down here. It's first time getting a car, buying my own car, getting an apartment, doing all that stuff, and having that taste of real adulthood and freedom until, I couldn't keep it. I couldn't hold it. I was juggling. I was doing too much. I was living a lifestyle, but I wasn't really taking care of things the way I should have. Ended up back home, broke, for a summer, working with my big cousin, Mr. Dillard, helping him with his houses, changing toilets, doing all that. And I'm like, man, I had a good opportunity. I was already in management at that point. So I was able to come back, get a job, start fresh, start over. Bob, who's, my mentor and the guy I worked for a long time, sent me a plane ticket and said, come on back, T, stick with me. I'm gonna look out for you. I'm gonna take care of you. And he sure did. He gave me a whole bunch of opportunities.
Okay. So I actually personally moved away from home. So I'm asking you, what were the reasons that you think that you were not successful in your hometown? Do you think it was the family aspect or just the lack of opportunities?
I don't even know that it was a lack of opportunity, because now looking back, there were opportunities, and there was, there's a lot of people, you think back, man, like all the business owners that I got to see and interact with, and I wasn't taking advantage. I didn't have the right mindset. It was, I needed to, and maybe it was family, or maybe it was just a level of comfortability where I wasn't trying hard. I wasn't really trying to do much. I was chilling, but I was enjoying it, but there wasn't much to do.
Okay. So my question to you, so when you came home, after the first time you left and you came home, what kind of thoughts were going through your head? Were you thinking like, man, I'm back here? Or were you thinking like, I only came back to try to get myself together to leave? What was your mentality at that particular point?
I was a little bit lost at that point. I didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to go. I went from, I was, 21 or 20. No, I was probably 22, 23 years old, coming from having my own spot to car getting repoed, evicted out of a crib, to sharing a bed with my little brother again, at my mom's crib over on Westshore. So it's like, man, what am I doing? What am I doing? Yeah. Oh, it hit.
So that's what's up, man. I'm glad you had that outlet of somebody that kind of gave you some mentorship, that gave you that outlet in Florida to be able to find yourself and restructure yourself. So tell us about some of the things that you were doing in Florida, since you knew that you didn't want to go back home. You seen that wasn't the life for you. So now you in Florida, man. You working. You said you had the management position already. So now you're starting to get into the groove of who you are. So let's talk about that right now, about some of the management positions that you had when you first went down there. Was it fast moving or was it slow pace for you?
Yeah, my first job really was I came in as like a shift manager or assistant manager at this Westshore Pizza that was across the street from the neighborhood I lived in. I walked over there. They had a pizza box in the window. They hiring. I felt, I had experience. I worked at Little Caesars, put me in the game. They hired me, gave me an opportunity. And it was fun. I enjoyed the pizza game because, like I said before, I'm creative. I was always into art and doing those type of things, and being able to work with your hands and create, even in the kitchen, gives you, some fulfillment in that regard. So I was enjoying just being in there, being in the kitchen. It's fun. We music playing, clowning. It's always a good time when you're working with good folks. And, I've been blessed to really have some really good people, around me, supporting me, friends with brothers. I've been super, super, super fortunate. And then the folks that welcomed me in, like my boy JR, I came back and got on his couch until I could get back on my feet. So it was, and we, then we ended up being roommates for years and years after that. But having somebody that was there pushing, coaching us, teaching us that, look, we can do this. You can do exactly what I'm doing. I'm talking about, Bob, who's the owner of this company and this franchise and this whole franchise company, showing us the ropes every single day. It was a blessing.
Man, because you also are a good person. So, so good people are attracted to you, man, because you give off good energy, because you're definitely a supportive person. So support comes back to you, man. So I'm not surprised that somebody wanted to look out for you, because you've always been the type of person that wanted to look out for somebody else.
No, man, gotta be a good dude. My grandma always told us,
man.
it don't cost anything to be nice. It don't cost nothing. So I was raised on that.
All right, man. So now you're down there. So it was really important that you told that story, because there's a lot of people that will see those type of positions as failure type jobs. Like, oh man, I'm only flipping pizzas right now, man. But they're not. But you've seen an end game in it. So if you could, to explain to the audience right now your mind frame when you were working. You were enjoying yourself, but were you working to get to the next level, to be where you are, or were you working just to maintain?
Oh man, from the beginning, it was always about trying to get, I thought I wanted to be a CEO. It was, I was in, and it didn't come initially. I had to learn that those options and those, that level was even out there, because I was just in there working, having fun. I was going to school too at the time, going to ITT. When I met Bob, he bought the restaurant that I worked in, and he asked me one day, flat out, just what I got to do to get you to do this full time. And I'm like, man, I'm going to school right now so I can try to make $60K. I was in this, graphic design or civil engineering program, trying to get into that. And he was like, man, I'll pay you $60K in my sleep. And I was like, today my last day at school. Now fast forward, he never paid me $60K, but he gave me so much.
He gassed you up, huh?
Oh, he did. But he gave me so much more than that 60 grand, man, that I was looking for. Pure game, man. He let me, not just me, he let us, go through all of the learnings that it took to run not just a restaurant, but to run a franchise company.
Okay. So what's the first one that you had your hands on that you were a part of?
First franchise I got was in Lakeland, Florida. I was probably 24, 25 years old. Again, just, and let me just say this, every opportunity, not every opportunity, but for me, it usually always started from a relationship or an opportunity given because somebody saw something or wanted to help me or do something. So he was able to help me get into a franchise that was for sale. It was failing and doing his thing. And he was like, T, look, I got an opportunity for you. I think you're ready. And, we went in as partners. I ain't have no money. So we went in as partners and into that restaurant. It didn't end up working out, but I was able to learn so much in a short time about business and about, understanding and controlling the finances and what it meant to really to lead a team and be the number one leader and responsible for everything. It was better than college, man. I tell people, all the time, on paper, when you look at my taxes or my financial statement that year, I lost probably 40 grand in 6 months, but it was better than a degree.
That's the thing. That's what I want to go on to. But you also said something really, really important. Sharice Mathis, I do What's Poppin' Wednesday with her, and she says every show, your net worth. I mean, what is your say it, girl? Your net worth is your net worth is your net worth. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but what I'm trying to say is the relationships that you have in your life really are what's wealthy. That's what makes you wealthy, are the relationships that you have in your life. I wish you had put it in there because it's a very important quote, and you're watching, girl, so you should say it. But I want you to keep going on what you were saying, but tell about the relationship that you had, because that was something I want you to talk about, because a lot of people don't understand the importance of relationships.
Man, and I 100% agree with that, relationships and your network, it will create so many chances and opportunities for you. Never burn a bridge if you don't have to. But I learned right from the beginning, and this was, Bob always gave us just real simple lessons. And one of the first things, or one of the main things he always told us, besides just take baby steps, T, but he always told us, like, we ain't in the pizza business, we in the people business. All business is people business. It's about, how you take care of folks, the relationships you build. And he gave me, the runway to say, and he always told me, T, you just go make sure that all of our relationships are good. I'll be the bad guy. You go be the good guy. You make sure that we good with everybody. And that was a blessing, because I got to, really get to know folks and let folks get to know me.
And that's what it is. Your network is your network. That's
your
what
network is your net worth. Heard
Say
that?
It again, man, because that's facts. Hey, man, So now you in the grind, man. Now you finally got your thing going. You got yourself moving and shaking. You said you took a couple of L's, but it was better than a degree. That's where I want to pick up at. So what do you mean? Because some people just think that you have to have a college education to be successful. And you're probably an example that you don't. So explain to me what you meant by that even those losses were still successful in your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it was because, there's always a lesson in it. What did we do wrong? What didn't I understand? What can we do better going, next time? And what I was able to understand from that was even though I didn't turn that restaurant into $1 million restaurant and, ultimately we sold it and let the next guy take his stab at it. What I was able to do was understand that, hey, we can learn from that. We can pick up and we can do it better on the next one because the next one is coming. That was beautiful for me because it wasn't a failure. And nobody ever treated it like that. It was like, man, that was dope. We gave it a shot. What we going to do better next time? Where we going next? Can we find a better location? Do we need different people? Were we working hard enough? Was I spending enough time in the building? Things like that. So you just figure it out.
So basically, you just said you stuck with your guns, man. And if you stick with something, success comes out of it. What you did was you didn't have a million career changes. So that is a college because people really respect a person that they can look at and they look at your resume and they see the history. They can see that they can trust that you're going to be a person they can count on. And that's another thing that goes a long way. I heard you say you started back in the day working at Little Caesars. Now look, all of that played a part. Thing. You never know what God is working on you. You might think that you're in a position right now of excellence right now, but he had you in a place of learning. He has to put you in a place where you have to learn small things to how to handle and control these small endeavors. So when the big things come to you, you know how to handle them and it's not overwhelming. That's
right, man. Baby steps, they'll get you there. Just slow down, understand where you're going.
So let's talk about some success stories right now. Let's talk about something good that happened. So after that one didn't really go through when you sold it, what was your next endeavor?
For me, it was, after that, it was really going back to work. I had a chance to go work with an individual that was trying to start he was starting his own pizza shop. This guy, Mark, that, when he reached out to me, he knew that I was out. I was down on myself for a little bit. I went home. I was, trying to make money on the internet and doing this, and I was fine. But then I had a chance to go work with somebody and help him build a new business. I spent some time with him for a while until I ultimately ended up going back to work with Bob. But really having a chance to go work with him, see a different brand, build something from the ground up, and spend a couple of years there before I end up going back with Bob and helping him continue to grow and develop, Westshore Pizza, grow more locations. So I didn't. So I went back and I spent years on the corporate side until the next opportunity came to jump into, an equity position.
Wow. So let's talk about that a little bit. When did that opportunity come?
That came, that must have been 2011, the year before my son was born. So, it was, again, relationships, some good friend of mine, Brad was, he was looking to get into the Westshore game, and he was doing his thing in corporate America. He wanted folks, like me, like JR, that were hungry. We understood the business. We had worked for years opening franchises, not, in Florida. We worked in Ohio. We worked in, in different areas. So we, Pennsylvania, we opened franchises. So he's seen us work and understood what we were doing. And he offered us an opportunity to come partner with him for, just a small piece of equity, but it was equity. And that was right on time for me. I was, just about to have my first job.
Okay. So I'm for those of us that might not know, explain what you mean by equity in this particular circumstance. I know what equity is, but in this particular circumstance, what does that mean?
Yeah, equity is ownership. That's the real ownership. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's when you're responsible for it, when you're really a part of it. And equity goes both ways. It's a benefit when it comes time to profit, but it's also, it's also, step up time when it's time to put something in.
Yeah, man.
So equity is the real. That's what we call real skin in the game.
Real skin in the game. So now you got all type of things going on. Like you said, still no college background. You have some classes here and there, but you're still learning this all by learned experience and by being on job and having hands-on training.
Man, I'm a product of sweat equity, like we like to call it, where you work for it. Still not in a financial position to really put anything in, but what I was bringing to the table was my experience, was my my expertise, my hard work, my time, and that's worth something. And that's what people fail to understand when you grinding, or when you at that entry level. You really put that work in, and it becomes worth something.
It does become worth something. So now you're into it. So when did you start branching off into different types of franchises? Because I seen that you have all different type of brands that you've worked with. What was the first brand that you branched off into that was different than one that you were already a part of with the pizzerias?
That happened when I finally ended up leaving Westshore corporate, because even though I was into the franchise game, we had bought and flipped a couple of restaurants at that point, and got into one of the ones that we're into now. I was still working on the corporate side full time, and not that I had outgrown that position, but I was hungry. I was thirsty to get into something else. I spent some real quality years on the Westshore corporate side, where I really learned the business, and I learned what was really out there, and then that helped me to see and understand that, hey, maybe there's some opportunity. And my boys too, talking to the fans, talking to my Central brothers every day, like, T, you might need to get yourself out there. And what happened was I was really at a point where I was trying to get out of the restaurant business. I was looking and trying to get into an IT position. I was applying for jobs at HP and all these different companies where I saw this is where the world is going. I wanted to get into something different. I felt like I'd run my course in restaurants, and my wife, my wife's like, why don't you, I know you've been looking, and why don't you just go look for something that you can do, something that in your business, in your industry. And I was already applying for jobs in Texas, and I saw this post for Fuzzy's Taco Shop. They're based out of Fort Worth, and they were looking for a franchise consultant in the Houston area. So I dropped my resume on them. My man called me the next day and was like, man, to be honest, I'm looking for somebody to help us grow right where you are. You look like you stayed somewhere near Tampa. We got some stuff popping up over there in the Southeast. Are you interested in doing this, but staying where you at? I'm like, hold up. So it really just worked out. I mean, it was such a blessing. Really appreciate, Sean Chambers and the Fuzzies team, Mel Knight, all these folks that really gave me an opportunity to really do a different part of the business, where it was supporting franchises and, opening new units and growing and expanding into new markets with a new brand. So I spent 4 or 5 years with Fuzzies. And that was incredible too.
That's incredible. So that's the reason why that's so incredible, is because you went out on a whim. You took a chance. And that's what some of us do not do. We want great things to come into our lives, but we don't even do something as simple as the application. Because if you wouldn't have submitted that one application, that you were looking for something totally different, God couldn't have blessed you with what was behind that blessing, which was a multi-franchise. So, man, I love hearing your story. So please continue, man. So now you're working with Fuzzy, man. Like, you opened up how many in your area when you first started? Was it one for a few years, or how did that go?
Fuzzy's was moving quick, and that's where I had to learn how corporate America really worked. And I spent a lot of time on the corporate side at Westshore, but we were still a relatively small brand, and more local with our 30, 40, 50 units in the Tampa area and a couple in Ohio. But when I got to Fuzzy's, they were already 70, 80 units and growing, and they had a strong presence. And anybody out in Texas and Oklahoma and Colorado, they already know about Fuzzy's, but it was something new. They were going heavy. There was only one location in my market when I started. It was in Sarasota, Florida, actually, where I went before I actually took the job. Went to Fuzzy's, tried it out, gave my man some feedback. He liked me, brought me in for an interview, and then we hit the ground running. In that first 2 or 3 years, we probably opened franchises probably 10, 15 units in Florida. We did, we expanded in Atlanta area. We were in Snellville, Alpharetta, Athens. Where else? Mobile, Alabama, Tuscaloosa. We were hitting the college towns. Did some stuff in Charlotte. Supporting folks pretty much from Baton Rouge to Charlottesville, Virginia. and worked with a lot of great people, a lot of smart, people that are, just killing it in the business world, and not just in the food industry. We're talking about folks that were coming from, that had manufacturing companies or spent time in the financial world, and they're branching out into franchising, and you just learn, you just get exposed to so much when you're working with that caliber of individual, man. These are folks that are spending $1 million to build a restaurant.
So on a daily basis, you could say that you talk to millionaires pretty much all day. Pretty much that's what's hitting your line. That's what's hitting up Tyrell's line right now.
Yeah, but it's never like that for them. It's all about those folks. Make no mistake, those folks are working harder than anybody you would ever imagine.
That's why they're in their position. That's why in their positions.
You know what I mean? And it's never ever about the money. It's about the experience. It's about the quality. It's about all of those things, and then the money comes.
Yeah, man. Preach, man. Because a lot of us trying to learn, so that's why I have people like you on the show, man, to try to educate, to show that humbleness, humility, and consistency is definitely playing a huge role in this conversation.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just learning lessons from those folks. And you're right, consistency is a thing, man. You got to consistently be, consistently keep your standards high, consistently look for the next opportunity, consistently be, unafraid to invest in yourself and whatever it is that you feel passionate about. I think that makes a whole lot of the difference.
Because what I hear in this conversation, in this interview, is you don't let fear stop you. When you were when you went back home, you didn't let circumstances depress you and stop you. You said, no, I got to go get it. And then when you got back out to Florida, you were like, nah, this ain't good enough. And even when you were in the restaurant industry, you were like, I got to do something greater. So what you always see that next level for yourself. So now you're franchising all over, man. So working with Fuzzy, how many different companies are under your brand?
So for me, me personally, I only own a couple of Westshore Pizzas.
Wow.
I've been
don't say only. Hold on. First of all, don't you ever just say I only own a couple of pizza points. That's not. Hey, man. Congratulations. Man, first of all, let me tell you that. Everybody tell my man congratulations right now, man. He just said he owned a couple straight out of EV off of Baker Street. Talking about he owned pizzerias, man. Let's go. He's destined for greatness.
I appreciate that, but on the scale of some of the folks that I get to work with, and not that it's a competition, but I get to work and see and interact and do business with folks that are doing look at my Aunt Revelation 1-3 and doing things that are, these folks got hundreds of restaurants. They got it's never about competition, because they've always been. I worked with cats that have just been open and candid and teaching those lessons, man, about what their journey was and how they got there. And it's always just about the work. It's about the work, being good.
It's about the work, man. Like, you sound like LeBron James right now, man. That's how I know that you're a champion, man. You're like, yeah, man, I just want a championship, man, but I'm getting ready for next season. That's what you sound like right now to me. You sound like you're like, nah, man, we just getting started. This ain't it. I got much to go. But the reason why I wanted you to stand up right now is because sometimes people don't get to hear this from their family and friends, because you're so focused and driven on your career, man, and your intermediate family that you have right now with your children. That's speaking of that, I hear them in the background. Speaking of your little ones. But talk about your family a little bit, man. Like, talk about your wife and kids, man. How's that going with your career, man? How old are your children? How many do you have?
So, before I even say that, I'll say for sure, and I appreciate the love, but when it comes to family, I can't even ask to be more supportive than I am. My family has always been in my corner, rooting me on. I go back to Lansing, my aunt, my uncles, my grandma, everybody's so proud. My wife is so supportive. My friends are supportive. It's always love, which is great. But my kids, my kids are 8 and 6. I got my oldest TJ, he's 8, about to be 9 next month, and the twins, Dallas and Adrian, are 6. My wife, we've been married for 6 years now. And let me just say, man, shout out to the wives, to the spouses that, hold down jobs, keep insurance, do all those little things that let us be entrepreneurs, because when you in this game, man, it's not the same as having that security blanket of a job and having, a guaranteed paycheck and all of that. Sometimes there's some struggle there. So, really just appreciate, the family for always being in my corner, holding it down. And to me, the greatest compliment is my kids, they want to be dads. You know what I mean? They see me and they like, I can't wait to be a dad. When I have kids, I'm going to do this. Or when I'm the dad, I'm going to, I got the belt. So it's like, but to me, that's
very important though, man. Because what are you doing is showing these young men what a man is. A man, he sticks to his guns. He works hard and he's family oriented. Like, why wouldn't they want to be that? And that's what you represent. And that's what why I wanted to salute you, brother, because you represent what a good black man in America is. It doesn't matter what your beginnings were. Don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as a crutch. Use that as motivation to get to where you want to get to. And that's why, man, I had to bring up your family, because I know TJ looking at you like, man, I want to be like Pops.
Yeah, man, he's and they all are. And I'm very fortunate that, I get to live and experience it with my family every day, but I also have an outlet where, as a dad and as a man, sometimes you feel like you got it on your own, or you out here by yourself. I'm fortunate for my network, for my crew, because we get to talk about our life and our experience. And what you learn is that you're not the only one going through it most of the time. Mm-hmm. A lot of cats are, probably going through the same things and not talking about it. We got that. We're on, I don't know if you know what Glide is, but we on Glide every day. We talking junk, we talking about the games, but we talk about, what our lives are like as fathers, what our lives are like as husbands, and, what our businesses are like, and, what we're doing next, how we can do something together. There's always some push and some motivation and some accountability within our group. As a matter of fact, man, we take pride in just learning lessons. This is a little insider, but you name your little group chat or whatever, and our group chat is called Taking L's. So we wake up for those losses and for those lessons every single day.
Lessons and losses, man. Taking L's. I love it, man. And it's great that you guys have that type of fellowship, because as black men, sometimes we have to do that to self-depress. Sometimes we have so much things, we go through so much, and we don't talk about a lot of things. So to say that you got a group of brothers that you can reach out to and maybe talk about an L that you took that might have shook you up, or might have went home and went off or had a bad day with the family or the wife, that you have your brothers you can talk to, man. So that's why we have to start opening up and having that type of dialogue amongst each other. And I'm definitely have something going on with Destined for Greatness for that, where I will have a show where we'll come on here for exactly what you talk about, coming together and just talking about different things that we go through as men.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's important to have that. I mean, at least it is for me, because, not every day is a good day. So you gotta have somebody that can understand your point of view, bounce things off, help you stay encouraged. I went through it a couple of weeks ago with, somebody on my team that was, kind of threw me off my mark, and I'm on the group chat, I'm talking about it, and my boy CeeLo Corey, he gets on there and straight breaks it down from his perspective. Really changed my whole attitude towards how I would approach the resolution there. So it's always there for me, and I'm pretty fortunate for that.
Man, I'm very fortunate to be able to have that same exact type of structure, man, because it's very, very important in this world that we live in that we have outlets. If you don't have outlets, man, a lot of time you festering and you finding a way to outlet, and that's not good. And that's when people start turning to other things other than turning to the one that they love. And you keep stressing support system and family how important it is. And that's very important to me as well, man.
Oh yeah. And I love the family. You can hear my house. This is what it always sound like. We always on 10. We try to have some fun. It's silly. It's a real blessing, man, to go through the good and the bad with the family.
Yeah, man. So speaking on your career just a little bit more, man, we almost wrapping it up, man. I've been having an awesome time interviewing you. I think everybody on here has enjoyed your interview. You have given us a lot of insight. You've given some people that might not have some hope to show them it ain't over, man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever's on your heart, strive harder. Work harder. Yeah. Don't stay in the same place. If you got something moving, you saying you need to move up out of there, move up out of there. If you're saying that you need to rise higher in your career, move higher in your career, man. God is with those that believe in themselves. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will.
I mean, absolutely. I'm a big fan of just, figuring things out. I'm a problem solver. in my position now. And, I'm still working on the franchise side. I work with a franchise group now based out of Jackson, Mississippi. JJB's, large Pizza Hut franchisee, Checkers and Rallies.
Wow, see, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
So, working with these brands, and I oversee the burger business. I oversee the burrito spots. Leading a team of area coaches. So every single day we're pushing the team, or I'm pushing my team to go out and solve the problems. Don't just be problem identifiers. Let's be problem solvers.
Facts.
So it's a good thing. I mean, and the good thing about the restaurant business is we never really short on problems. There's always something going on, somebody calling in, something broke, something happening. So we get opportunities every single day to fix something. So, you can't get too down on yourself, and you gotta keep going. It's not the end of the world. I tell people all the time, 10 o'clock coming every night. Let's just get through this, and we get back in here and do what we need to do tomorrow.
Yeah, man. So did you how did you transition into getting into like the burger restaurant industry from being to what you were in? How did you get into the Checkers rallies and all of that?
Same thing, man. Relationships. I'd actually met this group, and to be transparent, a good friend of mine is partners in his franchise company, and I worked with him years and years prior. He was actually my first boss when I started at Westshore. Gave me my first opportunity to be a general manager. He left, spent a bunch of time on the Pizza Hut side, on the corporate side, left to get into his lane as a franchise owner, and started to build his company and large franchise group. And when they were starting to expand into the burger business, he called me. I spent some time with them the year before, because I opened a Fuzzy's in there in Jackson, or close to Jackson, in Clinton. And I, spent some time with them. They kind of looked at it. We talked possibly about them getting into it and, expanding that brand in that market. That didn't work out, but they called me the next year and said, "Hey, look, we're about to possibly pick up some Checkers, in Florida and Clearwater, St. Pete, and possibly, some other spots. Anybody that would be interested in running that brand for us?" And I was like, is there any equity involved? And he was like, once the debt is clear, then we'll start to distribute some equity to some folks. I'm like, hey, that could be something that I'm interested in. I was really happy at Fuzzy's, and Fuzzy's was a fantastic company. They treated me so well, treated me like family. But this was an opportunity to go work for somebody who I did and still do consider to be, a brother of mine, and to help him grow and build his company. So they tapped me, and we went through all the motions, the interview process, all that, and it worked out. We bought 7 locations, quickly added 5 more, a couple of months later, and it's been about 2 years now, and it's been fantastic. So we're kind of all over the state. We got some stuff going on in Mississippi with Mo's Southwestern Grill. Just looking to really continue to expand those brands under the JJB umbrella. It's been great, and this is I really want to shout this out, because JJB is for me the trailblazer for what my life can, or the path that I may go, because we're talking about Black-owned, 100+ units, but small family company. So it's been beautiful.
Man, you run over so much important information. Like, oh yeah, we just opened up 7 of them over here, and it's my head's spinning. I read it that it was hundreds, but the way how fast that and rapid that you were growing, and watching the blessings from your hard work, man. So if
3 years, 3 years to it was 3 years from 0 locations to 104 in 3 years.
Say that 3 years. 3 years, you guys.
So,
did you hear that?
That company that's part of this company, and I'm a region coach, so I'm leading a team of area coaches, district managers. But yeah, this company has grown, just rapidly, and it's through the same thing, through relationships, looking at opportunities, not being afraid to take on a challenge, looking for value, and through acquisitions and opening new units. It's been a fantastic ride with some incredibly talented, smart, hardworking, dedicated folks, and it's
good, man. Shout out a couple names of the people that you work with, man. I know they're probably watching, man, and they everybody love a good shout out. Oh
yeah, man. I mean, the JJB family is it's a tight crew. We got our CEO and president Mike Quinn, and COO John McGowan, partner and chief financial officer my brother Jason Sesser, and the team that works with me every day, Linda and Randy and Sadie and the Mo's and Checkers crew, just real tight knit, and we're all in it together. Everybody helps out. We all do a little marketing. We do a little operations. We're a relatively large company when you look at the numbers, but the way we operate is like a family business. So it's we spend hours on the phone every day, and I'm remote, so I'm still here, and the office is there. So we really got to spend some time building our own internal relationships so that we can go out, build our teams, and project that that family, that JJB culture and ethics. I've been so fortunate to join this brand out. They don't know, but they can't get rid of me.
That's what's up, man. That's good to hear that, man. So right now, if you had a young man inspiring, man, he's thinking right now, he's working at Little Caesars, and he's thinking, man, y'all comfortable here, man. I want to own this place. What kind of advice would you give to a young man right now that was once in your shoes on how to get started on becoming a franchise owner?
That's a good question, man. I would tell them the first thing is to, really understand, how much work it takes and not be afraid of that, putting in the hours. But if you're able to keep your standards high, keep your integrity in the right place, not get caught up in the little things. So it's, a restaurant can beat you up because, you're serving people. So people, they pay for the right to tell you how they feel often. So, and you can't please everybody, but you can't let yourself get beat up by those those L's for, like I like to say, you got to continue to stick to your guns, stick to your standards, serve people, build people. If somebody that wants to grow, the best thing you can do is build a person under you to take your spot so that you can go to the next one.
Man, is there anything else that you would like to share, my brother?
No, man. I mean, this was good. I would say if anybody, ever find yourself in my neck of the woods, hit me up. I'm always around. I'm pretty accessible. I'm on social media now, and trying to be more active there. So I'm pretty easy to find. Hit me up. Come have a slice of pizza with me, and we can talk and kick it. I'm always pretty open, pretty chill.
Hey, man, and I had this scripture, man. I have a few of them that have me thinking about you, brother. One of them, better is a poor and wise child than an old and foolish king. Ecclesiastic 4:13.
Heard that.
The Lord dwells with him that is humble. Isaiah 57:15. And I'm going to leave you with that, man, because these are definitely scriptures that stick out to me when I think of you and the work that you're doing.
Well, I'm gonna give you one before I go, and this is for my aunt and pastor, Maddie Thompson. Revelations 1:3. Blessed is he that readeth and they that hear the words of this message and keep those things that are written therein, for the time is at hand. Don't sleep on yourself. Don't sleep on what's going on right now. Get it right now.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
D Woods, I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, don't leave. Stay in the back, brother. I ain't done.
All right, I got you.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in for Destined for Greatness podcast. I had another amazing interview. Tyrell Reed, thank you, my brother, for coming on the show. It's been amazing, y'all. Tune in every Tuesday, 7 p.m. We right here, man. I'm always going to hit y'all off with some classics, man. And right now, we're going to ride out to my brother, Chip Dixon. We're going to try to keep everything violent right now. It ain't playing. Why ain't there?
One step you would be glad to make two. It seems like
thank y'all for tuning in.
I was trying to do things my way, but it was like one day you tapped me on my shoulder, and this is what you said to me.
I love y'all.
If you come with me, I can show you a better way. And when I said yes, it's natural, and you put your super on it. Not incredible, but it's incredible. Not Spider-Man, but I'm a brand new. You took my natural.
Thank you to my guest, Tyrell Reed. This man owns franchises. Straight out of Lansing.
sure. All I can really say is I feel better than I did before. I feel a little bit smarter, seeing things I couldn't see before. I can speak things into existence. My brother or sister, let me say, look no further. Please,
like I say every time, I'm out.